local government is taking steps to make sure that your water stays safe to drink.
This is just a map showing the impaired waters in Athens-Clarke County.
Car break-ins are on the rise. We've got more on how to protect yourself and your belongings.
If a criminal can see something in a car, he's going to take it. He or she is going to take it.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Eric Solorzano, and I'm joined by my weather reporter, Ashley Soriano. Soriano, how are you feeling about the weather this week?
Well, Eric, you'll just have to stay tuned in 15 minutes and I'll let you know.
Sounds good. And I'm also joined by my sports reporter, Aaron Smay. Smay, how are you feeling about the game this weekend?
There's going to be a lot of energy going around, but you're just going to have to wait to hear more about it later.
Okay, sounds great. University of Georgia LGBTQ faculty and staff organization says that a victory for one colleague is a victory for all employees of the university system. We join news reporter Kat Hendrick live from the Arch at UGA for the story.
Yes, Eric. The Globes at UGA is the University of Georgia's LGBTQ faculty and staff organization and has been in support of Skylar J's recent lawsuit against the university system since it originated back in June 2018. And in fact, now they're saying that a win for one is a win for all. As you mentioned, they said that Skylar's victory is a victory for all employees at the university system who are committed to enhancing and maintaining a diverse and inclusive environment for teaching, learning, research, and service. The University of Georgia recently, the University Systems of Georgia recently released a statement from Jen Ryan, the Vice Chancellor of Communications, saying that the University Systems of Georgia reached a mutually agreeable resolution with our employee and the applicable exclusions have been removed from USG's Consumer Choice HSA, Comprehensive Care, and Blue Choice HMO healthcares. Previously, they used to have discriminatory clauses preventing university employees from getting coverage for their transgender necessities. And as you mentioned, everybody's a win. It closed earlier today. Grady Newsource will continue to report the story as we go. Once again, I'm Kat Hendrick, live from the Arch.
Thanks for the update, Kat. Hearings will be held tomorrow to challenge the recall petitions against Hotchkiss Mayor Teresa Kennerly and Councilman Jim Cleveland. Reporter Carly Reese joins us live in the newsroom with more.
The purpose of the hearings tomorrow is to hear the challenges to the recall petition. Kennerly and Cleveland are seeking to have the recall petitions dismissed. Organizers turned in the recall petition in September. The official recall document states that the reason is because Kennerly violated her oath of office and is guilty of failing to perform her duties. Kennerly's hearing will be held at 9:30 and Cleveland's at 11 at the Jackson County Courthouse.
Thanks, Carly. The Athens-Clarke County Commission meets in less than an hour to vote on several key items. Grady Newsource reporter Caroline Greger is live at City Hall, downtown Athens, with more.
Thanks, Eric. One of these key items concerns new requirements for testing water here in Athens. Bodies of water will be periodically tested for bacteria and pH so that it's healthy for our use.
Showing the impaired waters in Athens-Clarke County.
The Stormwater Division of Athens will test bodies of water several times a year to make sure the water is healthy. If they're not, then it has to get more treatment, and that's a problem.
It means that it needs to be treated more, and sometimes that means maybe adding things like chlorine and things like that can, in and of themselves with disinfectant byproducts can be harmful to human health. So it's just better to have cleaner source water so we don't have to treat it as much before we drink it.
It might be easy for us to just buy a bottle of water like this one, but what's really important is that this program is going to test the waters that we use in our daily lives, such as the one right behind me, the North Oconee River.
The North Oconee is used for drinking water for sure. Yeah.
The assessment of bodies of water here in Athens is especially important. This is the water that you drink. I just took a sample from the North Oconee River in this bottle. People through this monitoring system will do the same thing, but when they take it, they will assess the quality of the water and check for things such as the bacteria found in it and take the pH of the water. However, not all bodies of water in this area are impaired.
Sandy Creek is not impaired. It's not considered to be impaired. It doesn't mean that it is completely clean, but the state of Georgia has not determined that it's impaired for any of the pollutants of concern, such as fecal coliform.
If the Commission approves this contract for maintaining the impaired waters, it will be in effect from now until February of 2022. Eric, I know you've been following complaints that people have had to the Commission about the conditions at the Athens-Clarke County Animal Shelter. That will be addressed tonight at the meeting as well.
Operation of Athens-Clarke County Animal Shelter. First, the Commission will vote on whether they will convert 5 part-time positions at the shelter to 3 full-time jobs. They will also decide whether the animal shelter should be an independent department with its own director. Those are the 2 recommendations that are planned out in pretty recent debate about the conditions at the shelter.
To build the shelter up.
This was a scene last week in a room at the Athens-Clarke County Library, a town hall meeting. A room packed, barely any room to stand, full of people demanding change. Josh Edwards was there too.
We need to repair and build back trust, and that's not something that happens overnight.
Josh Edwards is the newly inducted assistant manager for Athens-Clarke County Unified Government. He says there's a plan to address the problems at the shelter.
This is a long-term engagement, something that we think will take between 3 and 4 months, but we're going to actually develop a strategic plan with our external stakeholders.
Those stakeholders include Athens Pets, the Athens Area Humane Society, and Athens Canine Rescue, organizations that will help Edwards and the government consider how conditions can improve for animals who arrive at the shelter.
Also in that short-term bucket are the items that are going to get voted on tomorrow night by the Commission.
Those items include making the animal shelter its own department and adding full-time staff to properly manage the animals.
Last year and a half, a lot of concerns were expressed. A lot of promises were made that things were going to change, and they didn't. So we are cautiously optimistic on that, but we're also going to be vigilant.
It's too soon to tell, but the Barrow County School Assistant Superintendent says the reaction to their message emphasizing disciplinary consequences for misbehavior in their school has been positive. Grady Newsource reporter Francisco Guzman has the story.
To go to a public school. That's ridiculous. It's sad.
That's where the words on this paper come in. These behaviors will not be tolerated or treated with minimal interventions. When the Barrow County school system sent out this message emphasizing disciplinary consequences for misbehaviors in their schools, parents who want stricter rules against bullying said it's a step in the right direction.
I think that everybody wants to have a school environment that is free of disruption and is safe, and one in which students can learn and teachers can teach.
Despite the message about misbehavior, Barrow County ranks second to Jackson County in having the lowest in-school suspension rates compared to Oconee, Madison, and Athens-Clarke County. And it's a similar story when comparing out-of-school suspension rates.
It takes a team. It takes everybody working together to have the kind of school system that we all want for our kids. And, we are committed to create the best learning environment that we can in our school system. And we certainly plan to do our part.
This is bigger than just one student. This is bigger than just one school. This is the entire school system here in this county.
Francisco Guzman, Grady Newsource.
The Barrow school system plans on continuing their commitment to creating the best learning environment. The peak of the flu season is just a couple of months away. Last season, 44 people died of the flu in Georgia. More than half of them were over 65 years old. The University of Georgia could become a major player in developing a new, more advanced influenza vaccine to curb the flu, all because of an award that could add up to $130 million for the university over 7 years. The goal is identify a vaccine to protect against multiple strains of influenza virus in a single dose. The vaccines would be broadly protective, but there is particular emphasis on developing a vaccine that protects vulnerable people, such as adults 65. Sorry about that. The money comes from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
I'm Tasia Harper, and coming up in Grady Newsource, I'll tell you why, if you're parked in a parking lot such as the one that I'm in, locking your doors and hiding your valuables might be something you may want to consider.
A local's high school graduation rate tops the surrounding counties. Keep watching to see who it is and how they did it.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
I love
Can we get strawberries?
Okay.
By paying attention to specific data and the needs of students, a local high school's graduation rate has increased by almost 5% within 1 year. Let's go live at the Smart Board with reporter Alex Rios to tell us how.
Some don't know where their next meal is going to come from. Some, go home and their parents are working as hard as they can, and sometimes they are without their supervision. So what we try to do is recognize those needs.
The state of Georgia's graduation rate is the highest it's been since 2012. Your valuables may be at risk with the spike of one crime in Athens. Grady Newsource reporter Tasia Harper has more with the story.
Due to a rise in entering auto incidents, those are the steps the Athens-Clarke County Police Department is encouraging all residents to take after leaving their car.
Entering autos are opportunistic crimes. Criminals, unfortunately, are smart. They understand where they can make a fast buck.
According to crime reports, thefts from vehicles increased about 16% from last year, with over 100 more incidents this year.
So entering autos as a whole tend to rise when students are in town and tail off during the summer months sometimes.
Although it isn't a violent crime, it is something the department wants to address and warn residents about.
A group of teenagers can go through a parking lot and pop handles and find all manner of things that they can steal and take, and they can do it very quickly.
For one Athens resident, securing his car couldn't come quickly enough.
I just left my car, and before I could lock the door, somebody was already in it.
And although nothing was taken out of Broughton's car, there's one thing Gillen says the suspects are mainly looking for.
And one of the things that we find entering auto criminals find are guns. And so if there's one thing we want to pass along is please take weapons inside.
But guns aren't the only thing that should be taken inside or hidden. Criminals are looking for anything that can be taken and resold.
Definitely, if you see something that looks weird, call somebody.
In fact, the department has a webpage dedicated to residents who do see something and urging them to report it.
I lock my door as soon as I get out. And make sure I always park in a well-lit area.
The Athens-Clarke County Police Department would like to remind citizens to hide, lock, and take. Hide any valuables such as your wallet or your book bag out of plain sight, such as in the back of your trunk. Once you do that, make sure all of your doors are locked, and then take your keys with you. Tasia Harper, Grady Newsource.
Well, I'd hate to come back to my car and all my stuff's gone, so I'll definitely keep those 3 steps in mind after I park. Thanks, Tasia.
I'm Aaron Smay, and coming up on sports, we talk about Kirby Smart and his preview of the UGA Tennessee game this weekend, and we talk a little bit about the SEC's Freshman of the Week coming straight from UGA.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How would you not love him?
And now, sports.
I'm Aaron Smay with your sports. The University of Georgia football team faces off against the University of Tennessee in Knoxville this weekend, and they'll do it with a former volunteer team football player, another who calls Knoxville home, and a third whose brother is committed to play for the Volunteers. Eli Wolf, a graduate transfer student from Tennessee, will play his first game against his previous team. UJ's head football coach Kirby Smart says Wolf should have a good year. Smart said, "The transition's been smooth for him because he's bright, he picks things up, he's smart, but he works hard at it, and he's got a lot of pride in knowing what to do. And that part he spent extra time on so that he could have an effective senior year." Cade Mays, Knoxville's native son and son of ex-Tennessee football player Kevin Mays, will play his second game against his hometown team, but the first one on his former school's home turf. His new coach says he has confidence in Mays. Smart said, "Obviously, when your father plays for that school and you grow up in that town, there's a lot of emotion there. But Cade has played a lot of big games, he's played a lot of snaps, and in a lot of positions. I think he understands that he cannot let emotion get the best of him." Aziz Ojulari has a brother who's committed to Tennessee. He says that his parents will just have to root for both teams. University of Georgia soccer player Chloe Chapman has been named the Southeastern Conference Freshman of the Week after scoring 2 goals in Georgia's 5-1 win over Missouri on Sunday. This marks the first SEC honor for the dual sport athlete. Chapman is also a member of the Georgia Lady Bulldogs basketball team. The Mitchellville, Maryland native leads Georgia in goals with 5 and points with 10, and she is the second on the team in total shots with 27 and shots on goal with 10. But she has the best shot on goal percentage when taking more than one shot with .333. When you look at this highlight reel, it's no surprise that she's the first Bulldog since 2016 to score multiple goals against an SEC opponent. Athletic director of Chloe's high school said, "Chloe means a lot to the school. And a thing to remember, she's a great teammate. Her father, Eric Chapman, is a former Virginia Tech quarterback. And said of her honor, she's playing well, she's adjusted well to college life, but now it's going to be some anxious times for her with basketball starting up. Be on the lookout for Chloe this basketball season with the Lady Bulldogs."
I'm Ashley Soriano, and after the break, I'll be telling you about your weather for the game day. As you see, it's still going to be sunny and hot, so be prepared for that.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys, preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hello. Hi. I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you, and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come on in.
Brochettes, the sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, you know, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away. Not to mention zucchini flour. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that, oh.
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta. A different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Laughing too hard at one of your colleagues' jokes at the office party? He's not even funny. Warning sign, those drinks are probably going to your head. Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
And now, the weather.
Good evening, Northeast Georgia. I'm Ashley Soriano, and I'll be giving you your weather for the evening. First, we'll be going over the upcoming forecast, regional temperatures, 5-day forecast, and game day weather, possibly the most important. So for Athens tonight at 6 p.m. it'll be 91 degrees and mostly sunny, 9 p.m. 80 degrees, and midnight 76 degrees. In Athens tomorrow at 9 a.m. it'll be 75 degrees, at noon 88, and at 3 p.m. 94. I thought it was fall, but these temperatures aren't quite fall-like weather. And for the low temperatures in the Athens area overnight, we are seeing 70 degrees in the Gainesville area, 72 in Atlanta, 70 in Athens, 70 in Toccoa, 69 in Greenville. So we're really seeing about the 70-ish area and the low 60s. For the high temperatures tomorrow, we're in the high 80s, low 90s. So 90 degrees in Toccoa, 90 in Gainesville, 94 in Athens, 94 in Atlanta. Unfortunately, the Athens area is upon the highest temperatures in this area. We've got 93 in Chattanooga, 95 in Rome. So it's still pretty hot out there. And now for the 5-day forecast. For Thursday, we've got a high of 97 and a low of 70, mostly sunny. 96 as the high for Friday and 66 as the low, pretty sunny as well. For Saturday, it's mostly sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 61, the beginning of lower temperatures. And Sunday, the high of 82, low of 63. There is about a 20% chance of rain and thunderstorms. And on Monday, the same thing, 40% chance of rain and thunderstorms, a high of 84, low of 61. So just be prepared for that weather. And now for the game day forecast. The University of Georgia is playing the University of Tennessee. It is a night game at 7 p.m. and it'll be about 83 degrees, still sunny and hot, 10% chance of rain. That's still pretty low, but as we know, when the sun's coming down, it can be pretty hot in the stadium. So bring your portable fan, bring some water, just be prepared for that. Once the sun goes down, all will be good. We'll be cheering on the Bulldogs, and there will be winds of 3 miles per hour. Now that was your Grady weather. I'm Ashley Soriano.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.
Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
Hey guys.
I'll let Sarah talk now. She's the SPM. Hello.
Come over here.
Only got a couple of things to say tonight. First off, during pre-recording, please have you're doing sports, please have graphics. Every single sports set we have has some sort of monitor, it has some sort of family, so we just need something to put behind you. Worst case scenario, we do have the story servers, but
those are handy.
Just when you go down there, to save us from having to re-record stuff when you do a public just remember to tag in and out if you are doing something like for the first story in sports, remember to tag in, remember to tag out. Same thing for weather. You all did a really good job of being on time today. You were all where you needed to be, except for package deadline. A couple of people were a little bit behind on that. We're getting points in the semester where you guys should be a little bit closer to on time. Let's see here. There were a couple of audio issues on our end. Board worked. I don't know what happened. I'm sure you sounded great, but unfortunately we couldn't hear you. We're going to take a look at that. DR1 was still acting up a little bit, but overall, I think it was a pretty good show on our end. Also, just make sure that we have a rough idea of where graphics views are going to be. I know we had one mispunch today with a VO, but that's because the VO cue was way down in the prompter. So if it's going to be something really, really far down in the script, like it's a really long script, the VO cue is going to be really, really late. And it just give us a heads up, otherwise we're probably going to take it just because we'll think we're getting close to the end of the script and we still haven't taken this graphic. So just if it's a really long reader and we have a VO at some point, just give us a heads up. Basically just be a little more consistent about putting those VO cues in the prompter. That way we know we can rely on you guys to have it in there. That way when it is taking a while, it's okay. It's going to be in there. It's just going to take a minute. Let's see here. When making last minute decisions while we are live, please let the director and SPM know immediately. I know that sometimes that can get really complicated, and I know that sometimes a lot's happening at once, but in order for us to make the show the best we can for you guys, we just need to know as soon as possible. Also, just a heads up, Halloween is a Thursday. Whoever is going to be producing that week, let's make it a fun show. I don't know who it is, but just a heads up, just a little reminder.
We have like fun transitions, like an alien hand that can like light.
Oh, for crying out loud. Remember the crazy alien that was just freaked everybody out the first week? That's not bad.
Wait, when's Halloween?
Halloween is a Thursday.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was this Thursday. I was going,
it's not this Thursday.
where did the time go?
Sarah just really likes Halloween.
I'm a little frightened that our planning ahead in Newsource is like, Halloween, it's only a month away.
I want to do fun shows. I want to do complicated shows. So if you want to do something fun or complicated for Halloween, I'm just giving you a heads up. And we do have graphics for that. Basically, just communicate. Just be a little bit more reliable with the VO cues. Like it was in there, and I'm very happy about that. So if we can keep doing that, that would be great. And just have graphics, have video, and make sure that those graphics and video are dropped in the right folder. That is, we're getting to the point in the semester where there are 3 folders. I'm hoping that you guys become a little bit more familiar with that system. So just please look at the chart and remember which folder things are supposed to be dropped in, basically.
Hey, Sarah, may I ask a quick question?
If you put on your mic.
Oh, there is that. So what packages were late today?
Let's see here.
Barrow
County.
Okay.
Barrow, bullying, and car brakes was late.
Okay.
I did not have my rundown with me.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
And VOs were in on time. Those, even for the breaking news, the VOs were in on time. That was fantastic. So you guys were on top of that, and I appreciate it. I know that our elections are not back yet, but when they get back, please.
back.
Oh yeah, you are back. Yeah, you were sitting behind her, so I didn't see it. So when Pat gets back, please give her my compliments. Oh my God, you're here. Okay, now that I have an excuse for it. She was literally behind me. I didn't see it. Okay, that's basically it. That's all I have for today. You've been doing some good work, good communication. Just try and get it a little bit more consistent, basically. That's all I have.
Yeah, I have like a couple things to say.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, you guys are so great. So like, I feel like I can be a little nitpicky. Cantrell, I'm sure, like disagrees, but like for the most part, you're getting your stuff in on time, which is amazing. The only thing I'm talking to you right now, not as your director, but as like, I don't know, I have a fancy title I don't really care about. For graphics. The graphics today were exported as 5 seconds long, which is not long enough for a VO, especially when you have like 600 words on it.
And the way that
you can change the time setting.
There's still images. they're not, they work in.
Oh, you didn't export. Okay, so you have to export graphics as movies, even from Keynote. Yes, it makes absolutely no sense, but that's how you do it. And then you set the time frame on it. So I'll come in one day and talk to you guys about that. But just because 5 seconds, especially when Kat had like 600 words to read that was on her graphic, which you never want more than like 4 or 5 words on a graphic, that that's what you have to think about. Like, you just have to make them a little longer. Other than that, everything was great.
Yeah, they were still images, and the way that it works when we import still images into the system, the default length is 5 seconds. We can change that, but in order for you guys to get what you need out of the graphics, please export them as a movie with the length that you want for them. So that's basically just the technical side of what Sam was saying.
And I can teach you guys how to do that, like, in 30 seconds. I'll show you on, like, Thursday. I'll come in Thursday morning. So that way we don't...
Don't show us in 5 seconds. That'll confuse us.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But other than that, it was great. And the other thing, I'm sorry about your VO. I took it early because I read what was on the graphic, and he started reading things that were on there. I was like, oh, maybe it's supposed to be up. Other than that, it was good. My fault. I apologize. But
No good deed goes unpunished. You know, you're lucky if that you do have a tech team that will go, okay, let me cover them for them. They forgot to put it in here, so I'll go ahead and do it for you. And 99% of the time, that's awesome. 1% is like, oh, yikes, it was supposed to be later.
Yeah, that was this 1%.
But that's okay.
I'm not perfect, though, so here we are. But otherwise, good show for our end. Oh, I put this down that last one.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
All right, so let's, thank you, Sarah. Okay, guys, let's hear. Where's Tara? There you are. Okay, so let's hear. She goes down there. Y'all are a little frightening on that dais together. Let's hear from Katie first, from our television producer, and then we'll hear from Kat, our digital producer, aka lead live shot, and then we'll hear from content from Tara about some of the different things that they had to go through today.
Okay, so. Producing's really hard, guys. Just want to put that out there. So I have good things and bad things to say. Things that went well, our live shots all went really well. They were all timed really well. Thank you to everyone who cooperated with me and were able to pull that together. Love you guys. Things that did not go well.
Bless you.
Looking at the pitch sheet, I thought that we would be more prepared for today. Especially because, and I know that we can never do things as we want it to, and things happen unexpectedly, like Ashley's interview being randomly canceled. That will happen, but I did want to put a focus this week on being able to set interviews in advance and schedule those, which I feel like I did mention in Slack. So that's just that's one of the big things that I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed because I don't want to seem like, I've never done that too. I've been in everyone's shoes. But it was a downfall today. And I think that's what led to a lot of packages that didn't have enough sufficient interviews and a lot of really, we had good sound bites, but I feel like we could have enriched our stories more that way. Sports, I know, Aaron, you had some issues there. Let's just all collectively work better on Thursday. I don't really know what to say there. And I have ways to improve on my side too, because I messed up with all the times and everything in the rundown. But that's something I will work on, and I hope you guys will also work on your part as well. And digitally, we weren't able to get anything up. And I know, Tyler, you are posting yours on Thursday, so it's a longer form thing. But let's also think about, if there are some digital reporters who aren't doing something or who aren't turning in that day, maybe they can work with a TV MMJ, and maybe we can work out something creative. If one of your stories requires more data, maybe we can do more data diving. And yeah, and that was all I had to say.
Thank you. Kat?
Katie kind of touched on it, that I think today it's safe to say that digital kind of took a backseat to the broadcast. And that is because Tyler is working on a 3 or 4 day thing. I'm really excited to see that, and we're going to keep building on that. Alex, you're working on, you had a bunch of different hats to wear today. And then I want to say thank you to Caroline. She did not come in expecting to do a package, nonetheless a package and a live shot. And per usual, she rolled with the punches. So that's kind of all there was to do on digital. I tried to get some stuff on social. The only real criticism that I have to say is that I asked a bunch of you guys, if you guys were TV MMJs, to send me little clips or send like selfies of you just so that we could put something on our story or on Twitter or something like that. And that didn't happen, but I know that you guys were all running around crazy trying to get the broadcast on, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what the priority is going to be at 5 o'clock. So thank you to everybody who cooperated, and we're going to get better for Thursday. Okay.
Tara.
Okay, so I just want to start by complimenting everyone who did live shots today. Kat, Caroline, and Carly. I thought they were all fantastic. I'm sorry that some of my countdowns left a little bit more to be desired, but I think they were all great. As far as content goes, I have some growing to do before Thursday. I missed some things in like the emails that I shouldn't have. I tried my best to distribute it to whoever was responsible for it, but I for sure could have done better, so I'll be working on that for Thursday. And that's all I have to say. So.
Okay. Alrighty. So the last few weeks, you guys have tried some big things and swinging at it and knocking over the fence, and that's wonderful, and I applaud you for that. The next 2 weeks, we're going to get back to some basics that we, I think, missed along the way. I was disappointed in some things in today's show, and I was excited by some things in today's show. It's kind of like, you know, my marshmallow theory. When you push in here and you get this perfect, something else is happening over there. So the things that I liked today. We had 2 stories that were breaking news. They really shouldn't have been breaking. They were just like late follow-ups. And I really liked the hustle I saw from up here. There was a good opportunity to have a teachable moment about when something's happening, who's doing what by when, and decisions have to be made. And you guys made those decisions, even to the point if it was, I'll fall on the sword myself and go out there and do it. And Tara's over here getting the information. So the LGBTQ, I think you guys did a wonderful job. You had to make lots of phone calls. You had to work a lot of different angles. You had to work a lot of different people. And you understood, we got to get it. And it's got to be a primary source, and you didn't whine, you didn't complain, and by golly, you got it. And it felt magical, didn't it? There's no such thing as magic. There is such a thing as just sweat equity. And the news, the journalists that work hard at getting the story, that call repeatedly, get the story. And you guys did that. So I was really proud of that. Because at the end of the day, all the eye candy interviews, etc., beautiful graphics, it doesn't matter if it's irrelevant stuff. And if you don't have the story yourself from primary sources. And that has been a stretch goal for all of you. So I thought you guys did a really nice job with that today. You did it with the LGBTQ story, and you did it with, I just forgot. Oh, I was moving on to Carly with her story. So yay, 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 good for you. Okay, but what happened is our first 2 stories, good job that we had live shot. We had Cat live, which was great. And then we went back and we had a live in the newsroom, which is great. And then we went back out and we were live in the community, which was great. Doing live gives a sense of urgency, and that's important. And thank goodness you all had it, or we would have been asleep in the back, because we relied on video until we got to Caroline. You know, finally when we got to Caroline, and that was at 5:28, 5:38, 5 minutes into the show before we see any video. Now, to Kat's credit, I thought Kat and Tara worked really well together, and they got the Globe email. They got the other primary information from I just forgot who, and Kat was over here making a graphic and then going out live. So at least we had something visual. Just a tip, and Sam mentioned it, When that graphic came up, I said, oh heavens, we're going to read a newspaper on television. It's hard. Look, when you're working late on news, and in this business, that's what news, if it's not happening now, it's old, it's not news. So the thing that makes you guys, if you decide you don't want to be in this profession, the thing that will make you guys great and will keep you in high demand in anything is that you will learn how to make quick decisions. What's the most important? What do I need to say? What darling can I live without? But that's difficult to learn. So today, because time was so tight, you could not make that decision. It was just like, we're going to throw it all out there because we don't want to throw the wrong thing. Yeah. It's normal, it's natural. So as we move forward, when you have something like that, learn to pick the vital thing. And I think, Katie, you did a good job in the lead picking the one vital thing. We went over it and we circled it, and it was a victory for all employees. But that takes a moment. So I would encourage you guys, take a deep breath. When you have something that's late, it's scary. It's scary not to just panic and go, I'm not going to be there at all. Just settle down. 60 seconds, well invested in what matters here. And everything will be better, and you'll be able to produce one something. So the graphic was good. How much better it might have been if it would have just had that key element on there. Okay? But I like the fact that we had it. Carly, I think yours was a big learning today. Talk to us a little bit about what you learned today, and based on what you learned, what are some things you would do different? Because what you went through today was a big deal something, and it's a rare something, and it involves government, and it involves requesting cameras in the courtroom and judges, and it's the real deal.
Okay, so I learned that you should probably call attorneys, involved with this, and I definitely should have done that. I had a comment from one of your attorneys that made the difference, and then also attorneys have to think creatively. I didn't get the impact of the story, but I at least tried, and I went into restaurants and tried to get people to talk to me, and I ended up talking to someone, but he didn't want to comment because it was a political issue, and you kind of just have to keep asking because you might end up finding someone that didn't, but in the future, just keep asking because you might be able to find someone. And then clerks are very helpful. I got all the documents I needed and was able to produce the story. Okay.
Oh, let's go. I thought it was charades. Sounds like Mike.
And then also when you have a lot of documents, just make sure that one, they're official, had to call again just to make sure that I had the right documents, and two, you really have to read because you don't want to make a mistake and say something that's not actually in the document.
Yes, a tribute. So what might you have done that could have made, I applaud you. Today she had to go to the clerk of a court, sit there and look at a ton of documents. So she had to engage someone in that, and that was a new experience for you. You guys will get to be old hands at this, I promise you. The first time you do it, it's like, oh, you'll get to be old hands at this. She then went to someone's house to knock on the door to say, hi, you signed this recall petition. How about you and me just have a little chat? And she wasn't home. That was different. Then she stood outside stores wanting to talk to people. Then she went into restaurants asking if she could talk. So you hit a lot of markers. And trying wins 99% of the time. 1%, it's like, ugh. Now here's where, you remember last night when you were listening to those reporters in Atlanta? So thinking back on what they said, and thinking back to the story we worked on Thursday, in a moment now of relaxation, what might you have done that could have told that story, that could have given you some visuals? Do you have any thoughts on that?
If I had requested the documents earlier, I could have actually had the documents up on screen and highlighted the important information, but I just ran out of time, and it was either get the story in and have people know about the information or have nothing. So I chose to get the story in versus having the actual documents that people could look at on screen.
So, and that was a wise choice. So this afternoon when she and I were talking, are you going to make it or you're not? Are you not? I'm going to try. Well, you all know, is there such a thing as try?
There's only do.
There's only do, that's right. So we said, there's only do, and she goes, here's what we can do. We can have the story with no visuals, or we can not have the story. At the end of the day, what's most important? You have the story. You have the story. So another takeaway is, guys, when you produce, you know how you back time a show? Let me encourage you to back time your day. At some point, you needed to say, it's a 40, do you remember when we had, you guys didn't see Matt Pearl. Okay, so Matt Pearl's a wonderful reporter, but what he talks about is back timing his day. All right, Houston is an hour drive or whatever it is. So I know I need an hour to get back, and it's this time right now, and I need to look at these documents. I need to leave here, I need to leave Houston not later than 1:45. What tends to happen is, oh my God, are you kidding me? At 3 o'clock, I gotta get out of here. I hope I don't get a speed ticket. And we do not speed when we're out driving on news stories, okay? We do not do that. We do not endanger ourselves and others, all right? So what Grady Newsource is about learning. And so when we have these learning moments, you can't even call them a mistake. A mistake is when you, I think when you at least know something and then kind of blow it. These are just those, you know, stub your toe and learn and first time experience. It's like, we cannot expect you to be an Indy 500. Is that a race? Okay. You can't be an Indy 500 driver the first time you get in an automobile and say, what's this thing? Where does it go? That's it, key in the ignition. Okay? So learn from each other's stuff. But we could have done with some video. Caroline, I really liked your package. We didn't hear the gnat sound though at the beginning. So the opportunity to get us, to take us into the story was gone.
Was there a reason why? Because I also didn't hear that, but I put the rushing water at the beginning. I had all that and that sound, and then I didn't hear it.
I think we might want to look at the gain that you put it. Now, what they were saying in the back was that the gain wasn't up. That you didn't record it at the proper levels. I don't know that that's the case, but we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, it was just mute in my ear until halfway through the first song, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either, but we were having a couple of issues with audio, so it could have been 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I will say that we still had some audio issues where they were having to ride the gain back there, ride the pot, and you don't want them to do that. So I would encourage you all, play your audio back, and you and I played your package, and we did identify, you know, some low audio.
I went back after that too. It looked good on the computer, but I don't know.
Okay.
It might have been messed up later.
Well, so let's be sure. If you've got a question about where your audio should peak, ask me. I'm happy to come over there and go, this is a view meter and this is where it should be, okay? And some of your peers are really good at it. So that was the only thing, but I think it was a good attempt. Let's just, you know, let's strike it home next time. One thing and you and I mentioned this to you, when you shot video of that gentleman, the person is who you want to feature. And in this case, Caroline shot him too wide. The closer you can get, the better. And I'm a big fan of what I call kind of the 60-minute shot. And that is like this, and you see people's eyes. Now, you probably don't need that kind of shooting if we're selling Girl Scout cookies at 2 o'clock. I want Thin Mint. No. But there are times where, you know, human beings can relate to human beings better if we can see them, okay? I liked Animal, and you're live. I thought you did a wonderful job live. You really are good, and I liked your stand-up very much. You know, at least it was engaging. What you doing? I hope she doesn't fall in. Yeah. But it was good. You know, it was because it's a visual medium. Eric, I liked your story. I was glad that you had 2 people in it, which you and I talked about. Guys, Thursday, well, don't turn something in if you don't have 2 interviews. Think information impact, okay? Really work at that. And I will tell you just what Katie said. I really think if you're a little bit more buttoned up coming in. I think the other thing that might be hurting you guys, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, but let me give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm wondering if you all are keeping up with news. Local news, national news, state news. I'm just wondering, you might want to check social news desk, you might want to check your beats, and you might want to check the all-around news, because when I'm going, this is a great sports story, we've got issues, because that is, you know, probably not my strength. So I will challenge you with that, or I'll give a bunch of news quizzes and find out that way. All right, so Eric, I liked yours. You had 2 people. And Eric did a nice job. He gave us a character at the beginning. This was a person who was impacted by what was occurring at the shelters. You know, this person, and we heard that this person cared about it at the beginning and wanted to be a part of the solution. And then Eric brought us back to that character at the end, to that person. So we really did a nice job humanizing it. And then in the middle, I actually liked you had the quote-unquote official soundbite, but you told us he was new to the job too. So I felt like I was getting just a little bit of a peek behind the curtain on what would normally be, you know, officialese. So I thought you did a nice job with that. Eric did a nice job video referencing when he said the library, you know, here's this meeting, because what could be more boring than meeting video? I don't know either. It's pretty bad. But he walked us through it. Now, Eric, and guys, pay attention to this. One of the things that we didn't do was all your shots were wide. So it looked like a lot of jump cuts. Yeah. Remember, guys, the fundamentals. Wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. Make life easy on yourself. You know, you can edit in your sleep. You got wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. Okay? Because that was a little bit disconcerting, but I liked how you wrote to it. And it's easier when you do that, right? One more thing. If you're going to wear glasses in the pre-show,
yeah, I
just
it's just
bam, slam.
Me and Sam were just like, he was kind of just mentioning to me about the glare of the glasses, but then I was like, okay, so let me go ahead and just take them off, and then I realized, oh wait, I left them on for the period. My bad.
You know, yeah, it happens. What's bad is when we've had people, you know, have their hair pulled up and then it's down, and you go, wow, somebody is really fast with the hairdo. I liked what you guys tried at the beginning of the show. I would encourage you to maybe not be quite so teasy about it, because there's some research, and you would have no way of knowing this, that shows people want, you know, when you're taking people's valuable time, give them information they can use. Don't tease them. It makes them mad. Now, you do want to compel them to come back. So it is an art and a skill that you all can work on. And that is, you know, rather than just, I ain't telling you nothing unless you come back, short of that. Or here's all the weather you need to know, don't bother to come back. Somewhere in between there's a sweet spot. But I applaud you guys for trying something, because at least it didn't look like hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, which sometimes it has. Barrow bullying. I don't know why that story took us. It's just, yeah, we'll see you Thursday, okay? UGA flu. If you'd written it one more time, you and I would have both gotten a flu shot. But we needed to be inoculated from the story. But you did a good job constantly going back to it and really finding what's relevant today. Tasia, I really loved what you tried to do. And you had to go back. I was surprised when they said, when I asked what stories were in late, and they said yours, and I went, what? How was that in late? I mean, you shot everything this morning, so did we get sideways when I asked you to go back and get those other data points? Did that kind of slow you up a little bit? Yeah. Oh, blaming me, huh? No, I'm just kidding. And so you should.
Making the graphic, that's why it was so plain, because I was running out of time, but it was the graphic that slowed down.
Okay. So, if you get into that, if that occurs, hold up your hand and ask for help, okay? Because we've got some folks in here that are graphics geniuses. Let them help you with that. All right? Don't stand alone. Sorry about your graduation rate stuff. And you and I talked about the fact that you had this wonderful gentleman who had these wonderful sound bites, and I would encourage you. You made me care just in that one-man soundbite. I mean, we all know intellectually we should care about educational issues, right? We know this. We know that appropriate education leads to, you know, employment or non-employment, wealth, poverty, et cetera, et cetera. And yet, education stories are tough to tell. You had great interviews. You must have done a marvelous job out there in the field. So I'm going to challenge you to redo that story on Thursday so that we get that feeling that you were about to give us.
Okay, so that is our show for